Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Asia TEFL 2020 conference. I hope you're enjoying it like I am. So let's get started. My name is Sydney Lee, and I'm presenting today on imposter syndrome and teacher burnout among foreign English instructors in South Korea. Oh dear. A little more about me. I'm an assistant professor at Yongjin University in Daegu, South Korea. And at this university, I am also a deputy head teacher and a manager of the language program known as the Global Center. Prior to working here in Daegu, I was in the EPIC program, which is the English program in Korea. And I taught in an elementary school, working with age groups ranging from kindergarten, elementary school, even adults. And now here I am with university students. I have a Master's of Arts degree in teaching, and I am active in COTESOL, Asia TEFL, and Toastmasters International, which is a public speaking organization. Now, you may have already read my abstract, but I'd like to specifically go into what exactly this is about. It's about imposter syndrome. Ha ha! Who would have known? It's also about teacher burnout. Ha ha! No, you probably already got that from the title, but so why did I do this? I chose this topic because I was struggling with both of these things myself. I was feeling exhausted and burned out. I was hating my job. I was hating teaching. I was hating where I was. And I was also feeling like an imposter. I felt like a fraud. I felt like, despite my years of education and experience, I know nothing about what I'm doing and I look like an idiot. That is exactly how I felt daily for at least, we'll just chalk it up to 4 years. It's on and off throughout there, but it was a steady feeling. Maybe for a span of maybe about a year, I felt fantastic about what I was doing. And then things in my workplace shifted and I started to feel very negative, and that's when those feelings of burnout and like an imposter started to attack me from the inside. So I did a survey, and the results of the survey indicated that while most participants are happy with their job, even more experience symptoms of depression, have imposter syndrome, feel that their employer does not appreciate them, and that a high percentage have developed teacher burnout. This study implies that while teachers may enjoy their work, a vast majority of them experience difficulties such as imposter syndrome, teacher burnout, or depression, and may feel unappreciated by their employers and claim that their working environments are unhealthy. It is a loaded 2 sentences right there. There is so much that we need to unpack in our session today. So without further ado, I'd like to move this forward so that we can review more about these results. So first and foremost, defining the terms. Imposter syndrome. According to the Harvard Business Review, imposter syndrome can be defined as a collection of feelings of inadequacy that persist despite evident success. Imposters suffer from chronic self-doubt and a sense of intellectual fraudulence that override any feelings of success or external proof of their competence. Now, despite the fact that I have a master's degree and that I have at least 5 years of teaching experience, not including my practicum, the feeling of I don't know what I'm doing, that I'm an idiot, it's a very strong feeling that I sometimes fall back into, which leads to burnout, a state of chronic stress that leads to physical and emotional exhaustion, cynicism, detachment, and feelings of ineffectiveness and lack of accomplishment. You start to feel stale. You start to feel exhausted. You start to feel bitter, jaded even by the negativity you experience in your workplace, or even the stillness of the job that you teach, where there is no growth, there's no opportunity for promotion. And even if there is that possibility, sometimes they just dangle a carrot right in front of you, never to be achieved, never to be grabbed. So There's a lot of things. Everybody has a different experience. There are far too many that I can even possibly name right here, right now, in this 20-minute session. So with the first 5 minutes done, let's move forward. The survey. So I conducted this survey through SurveyMonkey, and I posted the link in at least 15 to 20 Facebook groups that are specifically tailored to foreigners and foreign teachers in South Korea. And this survey had 28 questions. And if I had to do it again, I would have changed a lot about my survey, since I am not really knowledgeable about how to do proper academic research. I was just looking at this is from my own interests. And so I was looking specifically at things that I thought were important. So for example, I included some biodata information. And then I also asked questions about imposter syndrome, teacher burnout, depression, stress, and self-care, because I wanted to know just how deeply are these interconnected. Are people feeling imposter syndrome or burnout, or both, because they are depressed because of their workplace? Or are they depressed because of the fact that they are living in a culture, in a country so far away from home, so far away from family, and so different from what they're used to? I mean, it all takes a toll. And I mean, the fact that some of us even struggle to communicate our basic needs, like going to the post office, even though I've been here for 5 years and I have studied Korean all 5 years, going to the post office is one of those experiences that I dread, because it's never easy. It's like the terminology changes, even though it doesn't. Just being able to do the simple things is even just difficult. So trying to determine how deeply these things are all interconnected and what is really the cause here. Ultimately, is the workplace the problem? Are we struggling? Are we feeling like imposters? Are we feeling burned out because of all of our workplaces are unhealthy? They're all awful? Or we're all just not used to this culture? Is that why? There are so many things to learn, which I have not been able to tackle yet. But you can look here. Here are some of the questions. So the first 6 questions you see are the basic biodata questions, but I go into things such as, are you happy in your job? Are you a perfectionist? Do you feel overworked? Do you practice self-care? Do you feel that your depression is a result of your job, etc.? So many different questions to ask. And the results were just so fascinating, because there were opportunities for people to write their personal responses, and these were optional. But many people spent a lot of time typing out their unique experiences, and some of them were really shocking. Some of them were heartbreaking. And others they gave an interesting perspective, because there was a wide variety of experiences that people reported. But what is important, particularly to the message that I want to give here today, is that 50% of those participants suffer from imposter syndrome. 64% suffer from teacher burnout. 43% feel moderate levels of stress in their job. 60% are happy in their job. 58% feel that their employer does not appreciate them. 27% believe that their feelings of depression, burnout, or imposter syndrome affect their teaching. And this is something that's very important, because as teachers, I mean, it impacts our students, what we say and what we do. We need to make sure that, I mean, this is us, this is the job, this is what we do. 43% feel that their feelings affect their teaching only sometimes. Now, I mean, if we, I mean, we can do the job, even if we're not feeling 100%. I know I've had friends who've had to go in sick and teach, and, they're not at the top of their game by any means, but, they're doing their best, they're giving it their all. But I mean, if we have the opportunity to, if we have a chance to apply ourselves to our job, to feel passionate about what we're doing, or at least feel like I'm okay doing this, even if it's not really what I expected to do, as long as we don't hate what we are doing. That is, I think, something very important for all of us to be able to achieve. Hence, the reason why I wanted to look into this, hoping that somebody out there can take this information, go forward with it, and change the world. So let's look at the results and have a bit of a discussion. So looking at all of these things here on this screen, I want to say, and very first and foremost, I'm going to have one of those heart-to-heart moments. I'm going to do my best. What you do as an EFL educator is important. You are important. Your work is important. Okay. So we had the moment. One more. You deserve to be appreciated for your work. All right. Next moment is finished. So those are the two things. Our work as EFL educators is important, and so is feeling appreciated for the work that we do. I don't think that we hear it enough sometimes because, I mean, cultural differences in the country, cultural differences in the workplace, and I mean, like, everybody is busy. Everybody is working on something. There may not be time, but it is so important as human beings for us to feel some validation, for us to feel like what it is that we're doing actually is important and making a difference. So that was the first step. I hope my heart to heart, just for a moment, was meaningful for you. If not, I apologize. And hopefully you can find the validation somewhere else. The most important place to find it from is from yourself. Even if you can't find it from somebody else, finding it in yourself. So moving forward, you can love your job and be happy in your job, even if you feel burned out, or even if you feel like an imposter, which that was shocking to me. I thought, if you would hate your job. If it's making you feel like crap, if you feel terrible, if you're feeling burned out, if you're feeling like a fraud, why would you want to keep doing what you're doing? Why would you want to keep staying where you are? But it's different for everybody. You can love what you're doing. You can be happy where you are, but it's just this thing that you're grappling with and that you need to work through. Third point, imposter syndrome and teacher burnout are real issues that so many of us face. You are not alone out there. If you are feeling these things, you're not the only one. There is a huge group of us who feels the same, and there is a way to work through it. These things affect us personally as well as professionally. They are linked to what we do. And so there are things that we can do in our personal and our professional lives to make improvements. Next point, developing our emotional intelligence, which this is research done by other actual researchers and not just me. Even the Harvard Business Review has a set of books about emotional intelligence, and they are fantastic. But they are a bit dense if you're looking for something more approachable. I make recommendations later. But developing emotional intelligence will help us to pinpoint our feelings, their triggers, and help us to work through them. And we can even work on our relationships with the people. We can work on support systems. By my saying this, I'm not implying that you are emotionally stunted, that you are emotionally stupid. No. we all have a certain level of emotional intelligence, and everybody has their own level. It's just imagine it like a language. We are not automatically fluent in a language. We have to keep learning about it. We have to keep trying, developing it over time, refining the practice. And that's exactly what this idea is. Refining our emotional intelligence, awareness, and practice. It will help. I can't emphasize that enough. Lastly, this is a big one. So take a deep breath. Trying to change the system, the culture, or your coworkers will not work. It is pointless to be angry because you disagree or you hate the way things are done. You disagree with or hate the way things are done. It is pointless to feel that way. The only thing, the only one that you can change is you. Only you can change yourself, your outcome, your mindset. And once you do that, so many doors will open. You will start to feel less like a fraud, less like an imposter. You will start to feel less exhausted and cynical and more energetic if you focus on developing yourself in the right ways and right places and at the right time. So let's look more at these solutions. The first part, thanks to COVID-19, we are all probably more aware of the different types of self-care, which are important. The physical aspects of like exercise, oh yeah, nutrition, the spiritual side of things like going to church, meditating, praying, personal, financial, there are just so many ways that we can practice self-care. So because we are pretty practiced thanks to quarantining and COVID-19, I'm going to skip it and I'm going to emphasize some other important aspects. Education, awareness, and motivation. Now, emotional intelligence is key, and I've already talked about that. So I'd like to move on and focus on the reflection journal. If you write a journal professionally and personally, oh, you can make such a difference in your life. Just the act of putting something up in here that's stuck in here, onto paper, it will help you to push through all of the sludge that you have building up inside of you. And it can actually help your professional practices. Next point is professional development. We may be feeling frustrated at work because we feel stale. The way that we can push through that is by attending professional development. And kudos to you, you are already attending professional development. So you've already gotten started on this point. So check. Congratulations. High five. Okay, so the last point, finding what motivates you. Motivation is the thing that that'll really get you going. You need to find something to get you energized and ready to go, even if it's not applicable to your professional life, where you could take a class, you can get involved in a club, you could start a project, professionally related or personally related. The point is making goals. And once you are making goals and you're experiencing success on small levels, things that you are achieving, your attitude will change, your performance will change. You'll develop more support systems where if you're feeling unappreciated for your work, you can create new support systems and you can feel appreciated for the things that you are doing. And this is important for developing and making better all the things that we are struggling with right now. And because of time, just 30 seconds, these are some reading suggestions that I have for you. All of these books have helped me push forward through all of the difficulties, and I recommend them because I feel that they'll do the same for you. And it may not be your style, but just give it a try. I mean, what do you have to lose? Good luck and thank you for attending.